people back in the 70s, Gary. Do you remember back that far?
Yeah, no, well, I don't remember the 70s.
Well, back in the
actually.
70s with our fuel crunching and all the problems that we were having back in the 70s, a lot of people turned to alternative ways to heat their home. And one of those ways was a lot of people were putting in wood-burning stoves.
I actually had one.
You did?
Yes.
Did it work for you?
My wife wouldn't let me install it.
Oh, you had it, but you didn't install it?
It was in my garage.
But you weren't married in the 70s. I'm talking
Oh,
about.
I'm talking. I had one.
Yeah.
Well, I had one in the 90s. Excuse
Yeah,
me.
well, okay. Well, I'm just saying back in the 70s, a lot of people did that. But unfortunately, along with that, with so many people doing that in certain communities, you'd have nothing but a haze over the city because of all the smoke. So a lot of people didn't like that because they're adding pollutants to the air. So they said, well, forget that. So they stopped doing that. Well, there's been a difference. And according to the Hearth Patio and Barbecue Association, also known as the HPBA.
Go ahead.
Why are you laughing at
I
that?
can't believe they got their own association.
They do.
Okay.
You can go to hpba.org. They have a whole website. You can check that out. Shipments of wood stoves and inserts were up 54%, Gary, and pellet stoves and inserts were up 212% in the first 6 months of 2008. Compared to older stoves, EPA-certified devices are more sophisticated, often using blowers and catalytic converters to reduce numbers of particulates released into the air.
What do those pellets cost? You know,
I was just, Gary, I'm just going to tell you that.
Yeah.
Hold on, my
Well, tell
friend.
people what the pellets are.
Well, pellets, you know what pellets are.
Right.
Tell our
They
folks,
have these
Gary.
little manufactured things. They look like little rabbit turds, and they come in bags, and you actually pour a certain amount into a hopper, and it actually releases them slowly into the fire.
Right.
So it burns consistently.
And it's a very hot fire.
Right.
Very hot fire.
And so you don't have to have wood.
Well, you asked what the costs were. Well, pellet stoves cost between $3,500 to $4,000,
Wow. and
there is a $300 tax credit for the purchase of a 75% efficient wood or pellet burning stove in 2009.
Wow.
That they are pretty expensive, but it's another way to heat your home. We have a couple of my friends growing up. Their fathers had wood burning stoves in their basement, and it did heat their house pretty well. I mean, you figure that in the basement that heat rises, so it did pretty well. So they never run their furnace hardly at all.
I have some friends who have one right now. They spent about $2,500 on a standard wood stove.
Yeah, well, there you go. And a little additional information with the EPA involvement in this whole thing is that in Libby, Montana, one of several communities participating in a pilot project sponsored by the EPA and other partners to exchange older stoves for more efficient models, pollution from wood stoves was reduced by 28% in 2007, the first year following completion of the changeouts, while indoor air quality improved by 72%. So, folks out there who are looking for another alternative way to heat their home, you may want to consider a wood-burning stove or pellet-burning stove, and it's a great way to go. And actually, if you want to jot this down, I have a couple websites you might want to visit. Other than a great one, obviously, is the hpba.org website. It has a host of information there. But you can also check out some wood-burning and pellet-burning stoves at blazeking.com. That's blazeking.com, and also HarmonStoves.com. That's HARMAN stoves.com. So check those out, and you can find out more information